And welcome to the filming of episode 2 of AE Abroad, our new TV series, or online TV series, where we talk to students or athletes studying overseas and get a bit of behind. So we're speaking to Penn State student athlete Sam Reiser. Sam, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We were saying off air just before we got on that you did just finish the session, so the croaky voice or the lactic throat we will excuse. But so can you talk us through a little bit of the session today? It was quite interesting. You haven't obviously started being a track athlete. You haven't started any races yet, but you are, I guess, turning up the intensity on the training.
Yeah, so we've just headed into week 11 of our official training, which is going really well. So today we just had a bit of a strength session where we have a warm up 200, 30 seconds, 200, followed by a circuit of drills. So it might be high knees or side shuffles, some bounds, and then we do a 500, some more circuit, 450, another circuit, 400, another circuit, and then a flush out with a 200, 30 seconds, 200. And the idea of the 200, 30 seconds, 200 either side isn't to be fast, but just to get our blood pumping and to flush out a bit of the...
Yeah, and did you do it in that the indoor track that you're sitting in now, or? Well, that looks pretty amazing.
Between reps. Sorry, what's that?
So the indoor track that you're at the moment, is that where you did your session?
Yeah, so we've been indoors for a little while now, just trying to get used to running on the bank, which is also taking a bit of getting used to.
Oh yeah, we do speak about for a little bit later on.
200-metre track.
Yeah,
the bends are really tight, so we can choose the percentage as well here. We're really lucky at Penn State how we've got a hydraulic bank track, so we can choose whether it's 10% or 100% based on how fast we want to work out that day.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll go over the indoor session, indoor schedule that was released by Penn State not too long ago. Is that the track that you do a lot of races at, or not really?
For indoors, it is. I mean, we've got a fantastic track here, so there's really not a need to travel. A lot of great schools come to us. I know Stanford's coming to one of ours. So they're going to bring a pretty good squad. We have the Penn State relays which is pretty competitive and a lot of fun. So indoor season, we don't travel a lot. Outdoor season gives us a bit more of an opportunity. I think this year we're going over to Oregon and Arizona State for some, I think, dual meets or triple team meets, which will be really good. But yeah, like I said, our indoor track is awesome. So there's just not really a need to travel too much.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be travelling too much if I had that track. So we'll go over a bit of history just on you. So born June 17th, 1996, making you 19 years old. You were, before moving to the States, you went to Geelong Grammar School in Victoria. You're a 3-time national gold medalist with 6 national medals overall. When you were in Australia, you were coached by Bruce Scriven, who's down in Melbourne, down in Collingwood, I believe. You can probably train all over the place, but out there, can you talk us through do you still talk to Bruce while you're over there?
Yeah, so Bruce and I actually Skype a little bit, which is nice. Obviously, he doesn't have input into the sessions that I'm doing here, but I think, yeah, no, him and I were really close back home, and it's really nice to keep in touch with him and just tell him how I'm going and, give him a bit of insight into what I'm doing here and how I'm doing, not just from an athletics and track perspective, but also just, my social life and how my work's going and, just keeping that contact with him's been really good. Yeah,
no, I mean, I can imagine from my point of view that it would be pretty difficult. Leaving your coach, especially that you've been with for your entire athletics season and moving over, but I mean, it's a new experience. Can we talk a little bit about before you got into athletics? So this is quite an interesting story. So you were on the 2014 World Junior team for Australia. 18 months before that, you have just started athletics. Can you go through, I guess, the sport that you were playing before that, and what made you shift focus to athletics?
Yeah, so I'd done athletics, just because I had to, through, primary school and stuff like that. But, where you just turn up and you run the race and then you go back to playing your other sport. So I played soccer. I mean, coming from London, which is where I was born, and I moved over to Australia when I was 8 years old, I loved soccer. So that was always where my passion lay. So going through, primary school, I was playing for South Melbourne for a little bit, and then I went and played some indoor soccer or futsal, which I loved. And then going into year 9 at Timbertop, obviously there was no team to play soccer there, and that's why I found a passion for running. But that was, mountain running, and we built up to a 28-kilometre, they called it a mountain marathon, even though it wasn't the marathon distance. But that's where I really found my love for running. But after that year, I went back to playing soccer at Geelong Grammar until year 11. I really made the commitment to go for track. And even then, at the beginning of that season, I was still training once a week for soccer and playing the games, and training twice a week with Bruce for track, and trying to balance it all out. And the soccer season finished, and then I haven't looked back since then in terms of my athletics.
When did you decide on this college system was the way you wanted to go in athletics?
I was adamant on not coming to college in the States. I was 100% certain that I wanted to stay in Australia right up until I actually got to Oregon for World Juniors, and I was walking around the University of Oregon, and I was showing my mum around the campus a few days before the race, and it just suddenly occurred to me like maybe this is an opportunity that I should look into. Once again, put that to the back of my mind, competed, got all that out of the way, went back to Australia. Still for about a month, I was adamant that I wanted to stay in Australia. And then a teammate on World Juniors called Jordan Makins, who went straight to Penn State, started getting into my ear a little bit about how good it was over there and the opportunities that he's, taken, and that I should possibly look into it. So that's when I contacted John Gondak, who's now the head coach here at Penn State, and we got talking, and it kind of went from there.
Oh, well. By the looks of that facility, I'm still amazed by it. You made the right choice in going over there. So before we go straight into the college stuff, I just want to talk about World Juniors a little bit. So in 2014, so your first, hopefully of many international competitions, was held in Eugene, Hayward Field. What was it like stepping out onto, and I was watching some videos and things like that before, or this morning before we went on, and just the atmosphere and things like that. What was it like stepping onto an athletics track with so much history?
In terms of the history, I mean, I guess that wasn't a major factor for me because I haven't been in the sport for that long at that point of time. So I didn't really know the background of Hayward Field and all that. It was, for me, it was more the fact that it was, coming to the end of a 14-month season and preparation. And I put all that energy into it, and it was just an emotional experience, I guess, going out there onto a huge stage for the first time and putting all your effort into one race that you've been working towards for such a long period of time. You honestly can't describe it. I mean, it was incredible.
Okay, and so at World Juniors, you competed in the 400 and the 4x4. So 400, you made it through the semi-finals. So in the heat, you ran 47.07, qualifying you for on place final, and then you ran 47.02. In the 4x4, the heat, you were running with fellow athletes James Kerman, Joshua Robinson, James, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name, K, where you ran 3:09.22 and qualified for the final, in which you ran with the same guys, except you added in Daniel Forsyth, where you ran 3:06.80. How was it competing at an international level compared to, were there any differences in terms of preparation or what your preparation is like prior to the race in terms of marshalling and things like that, compared to I guess a national or a state race here in Australia?
In regards to like the actual lead up in terms of the day and the day before, you want to keep everything the same anyway. So, you know, my dietary habits and all that stayed the same. My superstition stayed the same. All that stuff, you know, meeting with Bruce and Dimmy, who was my assistant coach at the time, who came over, and just trying to stay relaxed. The only thing that did change was, I guess, how you approached the event in terms of how serious you were. Obviously, I was pretty nervous, so trying to keep that under control, but also adding in an extra 20 minutes of call room time, and the fact that you had 2 call rooms. So it's a 45-minute call room, if I remember correctly, at international meets. And there's at Hayward Field, there was one out on the turf where you warm up, and then you go underneath the stands, which was pretty neat as well, where they had an indoor track underneath the stands where you put your spikes on and stuff like that. But just managing that extra 20 minutes and having to talk to Bruce about what to do in that extra 20 minutes to stay relaxed and keep focused, that extra bit of time was I wouldn't say a challenge, but it was just something different to have to combat.
Yeah, no, it's definitely an experience, and I'm sure you'll take it into future races. So we'll move on to the college system. So how much of it was what was expected? You already said that you didn't really have any ambitions prior to World Juniors of going to college. You, an athlete like Jordan Makins, who I guess pumped it up. How much of the college system is what you expected it to be?
It's pretty similar to what you expected to be. I mean, the amount of resources they have here is just incredible. You really can't compare it to anything back home. I mean, if you just taking a look at the track behind us, we've got an outdoor track as well. You might be able to see green turf behind the indoor track here, where we can do plyometrics, and on top of that, then we've got a balcony just above that where our gym's situated. And then beneath me here, we've got our athletic training room, which has, you know, contrast hubs, a nutrition station where we have food and drinks provided for us after training, our locker rooms. We've got ultrasound and STEM machines on site. You know, you just can't compare it. Like, our budget here is a lot larger than what there is back home as well for university athletics, like not just Penn State, but across the board, because of like the way that the football program's funded as well. So, I mean, in that regard, it's exactly what I expected.
Yeah, and so I want to get you, and I asked Riley this in episode 1, what was it like arriving? So from the moment to how did you get to the university? What did you have to do? Introductions? Did you meet your teammates on the first day? Can you just go through that first day?
Unlike Riley, mine was a little bit different as I came for the start of summer school. So I spent 3 weeks travelling around the States with Mum to spend a bit of time with her before coming here. And then when I got here, I was actually the only freshman male track athlete starting in summer session 2. So, and I mean, in many regards, that was really nice because my training partner, or one of my training partners, Alex Schizler, was here, and same with Lamont Higgins, who are the 2 other. There's 400 boys here, and those 2 were here over summer, which was really nice. So we almost had the full 400 squad here just training over summer. We had access to the gym, but I mean, not having the full squad allowed me to branch off and meet some non-student athletes and just put myself out there a little bit and get to know the campus a little bit better when it was a bit quieter as well. So that was kind of nice and a bit different to what Riley would have experienced going to the start of fall.
Okay, and so you know Jordan Makins, a fellow Aussie or Perth boy. Did you know or did you use him for advice, or has he helped you, do you think, with your transition into that lifestyle?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially when I was choosing this place, Jordan and I would Skype a fair bit, and you know, he'd give me you know, I often thought that, you know, as much as I did trust the coaches when I was getting recruited. There's something in the back of your mind which you want, you know, a friend of yours to tell you exactly how it is, and that's exactly what Jordan did. And you know, he matched it up exactly with what the coaches were saying, which was really reassuring. So it was nice to know that I wasn't, you know, finding out two different bits of information, but they both came together, and that was one of the reasons why I picked this place. And in regards to when I got here, Jordan and I actually roomed together for summer. So to have him be able to show me the ropes and show me what training was like and what classes were like and where I needed to be and what I needed to do and give me the ins and outs that maybe the other freshmen wouldn't know if I came in full, that was really helpful as well.
And what are you studying at college?
I'm actually in the division of undergraduate students, which means that I'm undecided. So I was in kinesiology over summer, and then I decided that that wasn't the route that I wanted to take. So I switched over to DUS, which allows me to the end of my sophomore year, which is the second year, to decide what major I want to go into, which is really nice.
So in terms of study commitments and juggling them with athletics, do you still, being undecided, do you still have to do an aspect of study, or are you free from that at the moment?
No, so I still need to remain a full-time student. But what it allows me to do is it allows me to pick courses that I want to do at this point in time and explore different routes. So, you know, a business major might have to do stat and, you know, accounting and all that. I might want to get that out of the way in his first 2 years, whereas I can sort of explore my options and find classes that I might want to pursue in great detail later on.
And how do you manage, so is your training done in the morning, or how do you manage that, the balance between study and an athlete, becoming an athlete?
So for freshmen in the fall, it's a little bit difficult because we don't have priority registration for our first semester. So our classes tend to be a little bit all over the place, but practice is usually from 2:30 and on from then. So on Monday, Tuesday and Thursday, we start at either 2:30 or 3:30 and then have training, and then we have lift afterwards. On Wednesday, we just have an easy run and some sand drills and barefoot strides. And then on Friday, we'll lift in the mornings, and we'll either practice after our lift in the morning at like maybe 7 a.m. or we'll wait till the afternoon and do the running aspect then as well. So classes are usually in between or before that.
Okay, so you've got to try and fit it in. So what is the most noticeable difference between the training in college compared to what you did down here in Melbourne?
I guess the time that you have to do it, and also the holistic approach towards it. So, you know, I finish class most days before or around about like 11 o'clock. And, you know, training starts at maybe 2:30, but I have the option to come down here at 1 and, you know, do all the necessary treatment beforehand. Then I have all the time in the world to get the running part right and to do all those little extra bits, you know, whether it's hurdle mobility or to do resistance work with the bands and stuff like that. And then to be able to lift straight afterwards as well, just to have the time to do all the little things, which we couldn't do when I was at secondary school back home because we were stuck to such a strict schedule. And also the fact that once you have finished the session here, everything's on site. You know, I can get food into my belly within 2 minutes of finishing the workout if I want. It's right there, and I can be straight into a cold tub, you know, 2 minutes after that, and get a rub, you know, have everything, you know, rubbed down and stuff and loosened up and stretched out by the athletic trainers. Is, you know, it's just second to none.
And so the team dynamics, so you mentioned you room with Jordan at the moment. Is the track and field team the team that you hang out with mostly at college? It probably doesn't suit you as much because you are not doing the same course as when I thought. I didn't know that from my research. But do you hang out with the same people that you're on the track and field team with, or how does that all work?
So I'm actually not rooming with Jordan now. That was just for summer session 2. I'm actually rooming with another one of my training partners called David Marrington, who's a 400-meter hurdler on the team from here in Pennsylvania. And in regards to like, do we hang out with the team? Absolutely. I mean, all the freshman male athletes are pretty much on one floor in the same residence. Yep. So, and then we've got the girls team beneath us. So like everyone's always around each other and always, you know, bonding and, you know, hanging out and just relaxing. Depending on, there's always that one room as well where everyone comes to chill out, you know, watch movies and stuff like that. So yeah, no, we spend a lot of time together.
Okay, and so we'll move on a little bit to the, I guess, in terms of the races. So the first season, and a little bit different to what we have here in Australia. So your first track and field season, so your first race at college will be done on an indoor track. Have you been given much guidance on, I guess, the difference? You mentioned earlier that it's the 200 of the bends are much sharper, so you've got to, I guess, practice for that. But is there a learning curve there, or is it just, I guess, based on experience?
No, definitely a learning curve. I've been working real closely with my coach to try and figure out how to attack the bends and, you know, work with them instead of trying to fight them. Because obviously, if there's a bank track, you have to run up a bit at the beginning of the turn, and then you have to run down at the end. So learning how to keep the momentum to get up and then maintain it on the curve and then not let yourself get too far ahead of yourself going down. And, you know, tripping has been a bit of a struggle, but it just comes with, you know, doing your day in, day out and just getting used to it.
And you're doing a lot of your training on the indoor stuff at the moment?
All of it's on the indoor track except for Wednesdays, which is just a light jog, just a recovery run.
Okay. So I was searching the Penn State website. So and I think Riley answered this, your coach decides the races that you are going to participate in. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if we're really opposed to it, then we can have a conversation. I mean, if we think that we're being over-raced and we need a little bit of a break, then, you know, depending on what race it is, I'm sure we'd have an input into that. Obviously, you're going to run the conference meets, Big Tens, and you're going to want to run NCAA first round. And if you make it onto NCAA, like the last round in Oregon, it's not in Oregon for indoors, but yeah, you want to make it to the last NCAA round and your conference meets. Other than that, you've got a little bit of leeway in terms of what you run.
Yeah. So so Penn State is scheduled to do 10 indoor competitions. I won't read through them all, but there's some big ones that sort of stand out. So Penn State Relays, Penn State Nationals, the Husky Classic, which you mentioned, the Big Ten, and the of course the NCAA. What will you do the 400 meters in each of those competitions? I'm
not too sure yet.
So okay, so it basically depends on a conversation between you and.
We honestly haven't even discussed racing yet. I mean, we've got blue and white coming up, which is just a squad meet, which is going to kind of assess where we're at. And I'm pretty sure we're not running the 400 there. We're either running the 300, 500, or both of them to sort of assess where we're at. And then depending on which races where in the season, I might run an odd distance just to keep me off the 400 for a little while. And depending on if coach wants to give that opportunity to someone else, such as Alex. Yeah, in complete honesty, we haven't had that conversation yet. It hasn't even crossed our minds yet. We've got to get through, you know, Thanksgiving break's coming up at the end of this week, and then we got Christmas break, and then we come back, and then the big meets start. So we'll start having those conversations either just before Christmas or when we get back.
And are there any of those races that you're, I guess, I mean, you don't know whether you're going to do them, but looking forward to or want to compete in? I mean, there's some pretty big sort of ones that you that get a fair bit of coverage, even down here in Australia, like the Husky Classic, Penn State relays and things like that. Is that something you are really looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to Penn State relays. I'm not going to lie. I mean, to be here at home and to have like some big teams come down and be able to show off your facility and show them what you have is going to be awesome. Our flow track's going to be here filming it, I'm pretty sure. So to get that kind of coverage and yeah, just to be able to, have the home field advantage and have everyone pack out the sides would be really good fun. And then obviously, as I mentioned, conference meet and see what I can do in the NCAA. Having said that, NCAA indoors is extremely competitive, one of the hardest meets to make in the world. So, maybe as a freshman, first time running on an indoor track, we'll see how far I can get with that.
Yeah, and so outdoor season starts March 25th, so that's after the NCAA. So we might interview you a little bit closer to that after the indoor season. At the moment, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the NCAA cross country final is on this weekend. I gather there's people from your track and field team that are the distance runners that participate in the cross country. Do you have a team that made the final, either boys or girls?
Our women did. I'm pretty sure they're doing extremely well at the moment. Came out, beat Michigan at the conference meet as underdogs, and then won regionals this weekend as well. Our men have struggled a little bit with injuries, and a few people graduated last year and still did extremely well at regionals, and I pulled together for conference meet. Now, I mean, from my perspective, I'm just focusing on track, and I'm keen to see those distance guys get back in and working out on the track and see what they can do for us indoors, and then progressively move on to outdoors.
Yeah, and have you been able to get along? I mean, I've seen different photos and things that have gone up of you getting along to the different college sports. Are you guys encouraged to get along to the cross country or not really?
When it's a home meet, yeah. We worked one of the meets earlier this year, which was really good fun. I got to drive around on a golf cart and direct the athletes. But no, we wouldn't travel to support them, even though regionals, I'm pretty sure, was down in Princeton, which would have been good to go and watch, and it's not that far away. And I've actually got a good friend there, so it would have been good to go down and see him. But no, we've got, on our weekends off, it's more about relaxing and just kind of chilling out and around campus.
Yeah, and so how long is it that you're expected to be in the States for? Do you know yet, or?
Sorry, what was that?
So how, I mean, you might not know because you haven't selected your course yet, but do you know how long you're going to be in the States? Have you got a rough sort of timeline?
Yeah, so I'll be here for 4 years
Okay.
as a minimum, unless I redshirt a year and I go as a fifth year senior, which is a possibility depending on how I'm running or what I'm trying to focus on. But yeah, generally a degree here goes for 4 years. So that'll be the minimum amount of time unless something goes horribly wrong, which I can't see happening, and I decide to come home. But like I said, it's an awesome place here. So
yeah, and so, I mean, you've probably almost answered that question, but you're newer to the lifestyle. Is it something that you can see yourself continuing on doing once you do finish the course or do finish your athlete student scholarship in the college system? Is it something you see yourself continuing in Australia?
I really haven't thought too much about that at the moment. I just want to get through the next 4 years and make the most of what I have here, and then as my senior year comes, I'll start making those decisions as to whether I want to move back to Australia or continue working out here, or what job opportunities present themselves in both countries. So I'll see. Yeah, I'll see what. I'll tackle that when it comes.
Yeah. So when do we expect to? So I gather you get breaks and Christmas holidays and things are coming up. Do you come back to Australia at all, or have you scheduled anything to return to visit, or nothing at the moment?
I'm flying back into Australia this Christmas, which will be really good fun. flying into Sydney and seeing a few friends there, which I'm really looking forward to, and then going down to Melbourne and spending some time with some friends and family before coming back here on the 2nd of January. We really don't get that long. I think I fly into Sydney, I arrive on the 21st, and I have to fly out of Melbourne on the 2nd of January. So, I mean, it's enough time to see everyone, but it's, you know, I've got training to do, and I race pretty soon after I arrive back.
And do they give you programs and things to do while you're back here away from the college?
Yeah, definitely. My coach wouldn't let me have that one off.
Okay, well, that went really quick, so thank you very much. That's all my questions done. We'll be sure to keep an eye on you throughout the indoor track season, but I mean, thank you for coming on AE Abroad. A new section designed, hopefully, to get the athletics community here in Australia a little bit more involved in what is happening overseas, especially in the college system. So we're in cross country at the moment, so there is only a limited amount of our Aussie athletes competing, but once the indoor season starts, we should be able to get a few more interviews going and information flowing through the site. So thank you very much for the insights. I'm sure we'll be in contact again soon, and I do have some links and things like that. So guys, this is a TV series, so we will keep this live for about 24 hours, and then we'll take it down, and then we'll launch it back up in episodes a little bit later on. So just before we go, just promoting a bit of Sam Reiser. So if you do want to follow what Sam's doing online, you can follow him on Twitter at Reiser Sam, or on Instagram at @SamReiser_. So we do share those throughout our social media network. So be sure to follow him. Thank you again, Sam. I'll let you go. I'm not sure what time it is there or what you have to do tonight, but thank you very much for joining us, and good luck for, I think, the Intra Club, which is on the 12th of December, off the top of my head. We'll be sure to keep an eye out.
Thank you.
Cheers, and be sure to subscribe to Athletics Exclusive on YouTube for all the latest videos as they happen. Thank you very much. My name's Lachlan Reiser.